Hi everybody, this is a video about biofilms, always a fun and exciting topic. Someone recently asked a question about the order in which I recommend biofilm treatment. Some clinicians recommend bringing a biofilm disruptor into the mix before bringing in antimicrobials. Some recommend bringing them in after antimicrobials. And so this is a video about that. So as per usual, nothing that I'm saying should be construed as medical advice. This is for informational purposes only. If you need medical advice, please talk to your healthcare provider to get that advice. So the approach that I take with my patients is generally to bring in a biofilm disruptor if it seems to be indicated, warranted, after we've been working with a antimicrobial for a period of time leading up to that. The rationale there is the microbes that are out in the open that are not hiding behind biofilms, we want to kill those off to knock down the overall microbial numbers. And then if it seems like there's evidence that there is some biofilm kicking around, or we just want to be thorough, then we'll start breaking down the biofilms to essentially get rid of the hiding places of the microbes and then bring those gradually out into the open, still working with our antimicrobials at the same time to kill off whatever comes out of hiding. So that's the approach that I've always used in practice, and that seems to be what works the best with my patients. The kind of opposite approach, my understanding is the rationale is if all the microbes are hiding up behind biofilms and you go on antimicrobials, it's not really going to work. And when microbes are in biofilms, they actually exist in these kind of microbial communities. They actually share genetic information with each other. It's pretty interesting, like the wild, wacky world of biofilms. And so the concern is that, if I'm flooding the body with antimicrobials and the microbes are not out in the open in the first place, the antimicrobials aren't going to do anything, and indeed the microbes might actually sort of see the antimicrobials floating by and see if that ever starts to affect us, then let's develop strategies so that it becomes ineffective. And the concern would be that things like antimicrobial resistance might occur if the biofilms aren't broken down first. And there's reasonable rationale there, except that in my experience, what happens clinically seems to be very much not in line with that, that the microbes don't seem to build up a resistance to the natural antimicrobials, at least like herbal antimicrobials in large part. Maybe if it's an isolated extract, like if it's say just berberine, for example, or the herb Chinese skullcap has a constituent in it called bicalian, which if you just get a straight bicalian extract, maybe they might develop some resistance to that. But in terms of the whole plant extract, there's just so many dozens, if not hundreds of phytochemicals in a given extract. I think it's very challenging for those microbes to become resistant to them, and that is indeed what I see in clinical practice. Very rare to see that a microbe becomes resistant to an herbal extract in question. So I really haven't seen that phenomenon happening. And then also just all the time I'll see that patient goes on antimicrobials before the biofilm disruptor and we see a clinical response, and if they hit a plateau, then we bring in the biofilm disruptor, suggesting that the microbes are indeed not all just hanging out in biofilms, and that it's not a mandatory thing to break down biofilms to bring them out into the open in the first place. So that's been my experience, and so that's the way that I practice. I've certainly had some patients that I've inherited from other clinicians or folks come to see me to get, say, a second opinion or whatnot, and I've certainly heard stories about, I went on a biofilm disruptor out of the gate and I flared up like crazy, and I've just heard that it doesn't always go very smoothly. But again, this is my experience and just paying attention as I go along. I would be very interested to hear if anybody listening has had the opposite experience. If you found, going on a biofilm disruptor first worked way better for me, or any information to the contrary, love to hear about it. If you want to confirm my experience and say, Dr. Raid, this is exactly what I found too, and going on a biofilm disruptor first didn't work, going on it second did work. I love a good confirmation bias as much as the next guy. So I'd be curious to hear what your experience has been. So if you want to post any information in the comment section below, love to read those. And if anybody has any questions or comments about this topic or anything else, just post in the comment section below and I will answer as soon as I can.